The reason why you can't close AI automation clients for your agency is because you have no track record. You have no case studies. You have no testimonials. You have no proof that you can do what you're saying you can do. And the funny thing is, you can't get those without closing clients in the first place. You're stuck in this agency chicken and egg problem. And most agencies live and die in this position. But today I'm going to tell you about a way out, a way you can get a head start over all of your competition and all of these other agencies just starting out, a way to beat market saturation. I'm going to deliver it in a new experience, so I want you to stay focused, buckle in, and write comments for me in the section below because I'm going to be answering all of them. So welcome to how to close 500% more AI deals by doing something called borrowing credibility. And this is a very important concept that's pretty much going to change your entire life if you choose to do it correctly. So, like I mentioned, if you're a beginner just starting out, you likely have no case studies, you have no testimonials, and you have barely any experience. You feel like an imposter when you're trying to sell. That is not something that goes away until you replace it with competency, with getting actual results. The business owners can tell this. They can tell when you don't know what you're talking about. They can tell that you're pitching something that you haven't fully built or you don't have full confidence in knowing how to get it done. Now, the only thing holding you back from closing deals is trust. Now, there's two kinds of trust. There's trust that you are not a scammer. That is one of their most important concerns because they do not know you. Likely this is going to be from cold outreach, so they have no prior relationship with you. And second is trust that you can do what you say you can. A lot of people can just talk a big talk. Anybody can say they can do anything, but what makes them trust that you are the person that can actually see this all the way through and get them the results and the impact that you're promising? Now, as a beginner, it's very hard to overcome these, especially if you're brand new. All of your effort will be spent combating this. If you've tried agency at any level, you've noticed that a lot of your time will just be spent focusing on building trust. And if you don't successfully build trust, that's when you get ghosted. That's when they don't respond to you. That's when you aren't able to close deals. But there is a way to combat this, and this is very important. A way to get a head start over everybody else. It's called borrowing credibility. That's what we're going to be going through today. Now, if you don't know who I am, real quick, my name is Hamza Beg. I go by Hamza Automates on social platforms. I run a big personal brand based around AI and automation. We just passed 100,000 followers on Instagram, a couple tens of thousands more on YouTube, very well known in the AI automation space. If you Google me, you can see a lot of the talks and the podcasts and things that I've been on. I run one of the biggest AI automation based school communities with 37,000 members, which you can see in the bottom right hand corner. And I've won many awards. So I run a 7-figure award-winning AI automation agency. We've done hundreds of different projects. We have hundreds of case studies of clients that have worked with us. And here are some of the awards that I've won as well. So jumping into how exactly can you borrow credibility? And the reason that I brought that up is because, as you can see, me, myself, I am very credible. I've done a lot in this space. I've achieved a lot for not just myself, but for my clients as well. All of my claims are verifiable and people can simply just look me up. They can see I'm a very credible source. That's why it's very easy for me to close deals. Now, the way that it works is you as a complete beginner, as brand new as you are, it starts with partnering and signing what's called an arbitrage agreement with more established agencies like mine, for example. In these agreements, what it entails is that you are basically allowed to use these agencies for all of your client project fulfillment. They become your preferred and exclusive partner for all of your back-end fulfillment for your agency, all of your projects. But in exchange for you signing this agreement, what do you receive? You get all of their case studies. You get all of their testimonials. You get their brand reputation and their credibility. You get to say, I've partnered with an agency that has done this X amount of times. Or you can say, this system is backed by a team that has already delivered these results. And you can say that truthfully and wholeheartedly because that is the team that's handling your backend. You no longer have to rely on yourself for these results. There's somebody else who's proven and done this that you can now piggyback off their name. And this is a win-win for both parties. A lot of established agencies would be open to doing an arbitrage agreement like this. The big difference this makes when you're pitching to a client is now they do not need to believe in you alone. You are no longer just that solopreneur who's standing there in front of them with no track record, who's never done this. Now they just need to believe that you have the right system and people, the right team behind you to get the job done. Making them trust that is a lot easier than them trusting you. And that is the big switch that you get access to with this. So what this also allows you to do is borrowing credibility gives you a lot of speed. You're not there at the start line working your way up, doing free projects, doing slave labor, trying to build up your portfolio and case studies. Of course, that's possible and that's the long game, but AI is a game of speed. You do not have time to waste doing all of this free work. You need to start making money fast before the gold rush is gone and everybody else catches up. So if you can borrow someone's credibility, by default, you can move with a lot more speed and urgency. You skip the prove yourself phase, the endless objections, and the awkward imposter feeling that you likely have every time you go and pitch a service. Now, you might say, you know what? I think I still want to invest the time to learn these skills. And absolutely, you should. You should know what you're talking about. Even if you're not the one fulfilling it, you need to have a certain level of knowledge to be able to sell this. That's absolutely non negotiable. But if you want to be handling the back end fulfillment for yourself, for 99% of you, or the vast majority of you, the learning curve to becoming a competent builder is too steep. I know this firsthand because I run one of the biggest training programs for this. And what I've learned is not everybody is made to be a builder. Truly, if you dedicate yourself for months on end to learn all of the best and latest tools out there, you still are not as competitive as a world-class AI engineer who's been doing this, an automation specialist who's been doing this for years before you. And for you to get to their level is virtually impossible. So to compete makes it very hard. And not to mention all the time you lose during that building and learning phase. You're not making any money, you're not making any sales during that process. We truly do not have any time to waste anymore on trial and error and figuring it out and being a builder yourself. Those days are gone. That was last year. That was 2024. Now we're in the second half of 2025, where the focus now is just on results. People are moving with tremendous speed as fast as possible. The focus is on speed, finding problems and deploying solutions. Nobody cares if you're the one who builds it yourself. If you can simply be the facilitator of that solution, that is more than enough, and that is your job. And with arbitrage, with borrowing credibility, with what I'm talking about here, you're no longer bottlenecked by fulfillment. Because previously, if you're the builder and the seller, as soon as you close a deal, what happens? Sales stops, the pipeline dries up because you're focused on building and fulfilling and client management and everything else that goes with it. You cannot be both people at once. You should simply just focus on the highest leverage activity for you, which is sales. Because as soon as the contract is signed, you can then move on to the next deal. That is what speed and leverage is all about. If you can focus your time 100% on sales day in and day out, it's unreasonable to assume that you're not going to be closing a lot of deals. So 100% of fulfillment ideally should be handled by your fulfillment or your partner agency. Let them take it off your plate. And now, practically speaking, it's easier said than done. You actually have to work and find solid, trusted developers, people who are competent, who you understand how to communicate with, people that won't take advantage of you because you're not as technical, people who actually have strong, verifiable case studies that are industry specific. Maybe they have a list of products. So there are certain categories that go into finding a good partner agency. You can't just find anybody off the street and have them handle your fulfillment. As soon as something goes wrong, it can be a nightmare, and I've been there. So like I mentioned, you need a verifiable track record. You need a strong brand name. You can't borrow credibility from somebody who has no credibility. They need to have a name. They need to have a presence. There has to be some significance to them. Otherwise, you're borrowing nothing and you're getting no advantage. And they also, very importantly, need to have enough bandwidth to handle your deals. You cannot just have a two-person development agency to handle everything, because the second you overload them with projects, the entire system comes crumbling down. So you need a solid agency with good bandwidth and reserves that can take as much as you can give them. And that's going to be very important to your ability to scale. Now, of course, personally, I'd love to say just send all of your projects to me. Honestly, I would love that. But the honest truth is that would be irresponsible, because I currently have 35 developers working underneath me, which sounds like a lot. But with the current arbitrage partners that I have, they're absolute killers. We get 5 new intake forms every single day of new projects. we get over $100,000 of new pipeline added every week of potential projects to be closed. And I spend personally 10 plus hours a week on sales training. If I'm bringing an arbitrage partner in who I'm going to be doing the fulfillment for, I have to make sure that they're sales machines, that they're closing deals left and right. I personally do not have any time to waste, so my time is spent exclusively making sure that these guys are killers and they're bringing us a lot of money so I can continue hiring more developers and we can keep adding to our case study pool. My job is to make sure that we have enough capacity and bandwidth to handle all of these new arbitrage partners we bring on and how many proposals and projects that they're sending into my team. So like I said, the partners have to be efficient sales machines. And I'm also very careful with who I let borrow my credibility. Obviously, I've spent a lot of time building up my name, building up my reputation. When you Google me or when you search up my social media credentials, there's a lot of goodwill that I've built with my audience, with the industry, with businesses around me. And that is not something that I want tainted. I don't want people going out there saying that they're affiliated with me unless we've met them and we've vetted them and we've given them access to all of our case studies or testimonials and allowed them to use our name. That's only a certain type of person that I want to work with. So all of my arbitrage partners are very closely vetted. I train them personally on how to work with me and my fulfillment team because we have a very structured and rigorous process. And we want to make sure that they know how to close deals at a very crazy high conversion rate. Otherwise, they're just going to end up wasting my time. So I'm directly invested in their success and improvement. So if that all makes sense, you might be wondering, so how do you actually become an arbitrage partner? Who am I looking for my agency? And this is great advice to you in general. This is who you should be becoming so other agencies will want to work with you. So personally with my agency, we want to target strong markets. So ideally you're based in a G20 country. If you don't know which countries those are, you can Google them. You have strong English fluency because we only focus on English speaking clients. Sometimes we do make exceptions for voice bots in different languages, but ideally you are fluently English because we communicate throughout our entire agency in English. It is very important that you have formal or informal sales experience. I do not want to train beginners from the ground up on how to cold call and how to get over the fear of rejection and that kind of stuff. There are separate sales programs that you can go to for that. We simply want to work with people who have the confidence and the ability to close deals themselves. Maybe they have a prior book of business, maybe they're pivoting from another career. Whatever that is, I want you to be able to manage your own sales book of business yourself. I want you to be self-disciplined. I do not want to handhold my arbitrage partners. I want to focus on fulfillment while you focus on sales. I want you to be coachable. Like I mentioned, there's a specific process that we go through when we teach you how to become an arbitrage partner. I want to make sure you know how to deal with my fulfillment team, how to do client management, how to send proposals, contracts, all of that stuff. You are still running your own agency, and I need to teach you how to do that effectively. So I don't want people who are stuck in their ways. I want people who want to work with me directly. And most importantly, you want to make as much money as you can in the shortest amount of time possible. This is all about speed and leverage. This is all about making as much money as possible. This is about getting deal volume, deal flow, doing as much outreach as possible because I want to keep growing my team. I want more projects. I want more case studies. I want to hire more developers and build and scale what I'm doing right now. And that is only done by highly motivated, hungry people who just want to take advantage of this gold rush. This is not for people who want to be passive and, give it a shot here and there and see what happens, because this is a direct attribution to my time. I'm invested into making sure all of my partners are a success. So if you've made it this far in the video, and if this sounds something like you, and this is clicked in your head where you're like, yes, I want to take advantage of the gold rush, and I want to move with speed as fast as possible. I do not want to sit around stuck in builder mode, building things myself. I want to take action and get results. Then I want to meet you. This is the whole point of this video. I wanted to make this clear that, it is possible to borrow credibility. By all means, do that with anyone else, but there's certain people who I want to borrow my credibility. I want to empower you to basically dominate. I want to have arbitrage partners all over the globe in every country building the Hexona brand and helping me scale AI and automation. So if that sounds like you, then the next step would be to book a call below. We'll see if you're a good fit to become an arbitrage partner. We'll have an informal discussion. We'll let you know about what the process is. And then if it's a good fit, we'll get you onboarded. And if you want to truly see in action how quickly this system works and how fast you can get started with arbitrage, then there's this case study that I just made, this interview with one of our arbitrage partners, Chris Sutter. He was a ex-solar sales rep, and now he's doing about 40K a month with pure arbitrage, not building anything himself, which is extremely impressive. So somewhere over here, there's going to be a link where you can click on that video or go check it out on my channel. But I appreciate you listening. This is how you can get started by borrowing credibility of other established agencies. And if you specifically want to work with me and mine, then book a call. Otherwise, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment. And I look forward to meeting you and hopefully working with you as well.